I never lie, folks. And I think all of us tomorrow are attending the UNFPA announcement. That's a doctor's order. Next, I would like to introduce a video message by Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, who's the current Director General of WHO. He was recently reappointed at the World Health Assembly in May, and he was, amongst many other things, the first candidate from Africa to be appointed into this role. And after taking office, Dr. Tedros has initiated the most significant transformation in the organization's history, which has generated a wide range of achievements. We will now hear the video message from Dr. Tedros.
Your Excellency Anutin Chanvirakul, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Public Health of Thailand, my sister Natalia Kanem, Executive Director of UNFPA, Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, Sabadi Kaap, quality family planning and reproductive health and rights are essential components of universal health coverage and primary health care. Family planning is also key to many development aims, including education, food security, economic prosperity, and even climate change. WHO is working around the world to support countries with family planning programs, including supporting 96 countries to update their national clinical practice guidelines. We're also providing technical assistance and working with underserved communities in low and lower middle income countries, including some with ongoing conflicts. We look forward to discussing key opportunities and challenges over the next few days, including self-care, implementation, research, and the updated Global Handbook for Family Planning Providers. We also hope this meeting will be an opportunity to leverage country-based expertise and experience through South-South learning exchange. WHO looks forward to announcing our commitment to Family Planning 2030, which include sharing new evidence and providing training and mentorship. We remain committed to working with you all to expand access to services for family planning and reproductive health, and to building a healthier, safer, and fairer world. I thank you. Kom Krab.
Thank you to Dr. Tedros in his absence. And next, I would like to introduce Dr. Atul Gawande. He's a renowned surgeon, writer, and public health leader. Prior to joining the Biden-Harris administration, he was a practicing general and endocrine surgeon and a professor at Harvard Medical School. He also co-founded CIC Health, a public benefit corporation supporting pandemic response operations nationally. He's also served as a member of the Biden Transition COVID-19 Advisory Board. In addition, Atul is a longtime staff writer for the New Yorker magazine and has written 4 New York Times best-selling books. Thank you and welcome, Atul.
Thank you, Dr. T, for that kind introduction. Thank you to the government of Thailand for hosting us at this conference. And thank you to the ICFP Steering Committee for providing this vital forum for this family planning community. But most of all, thank you to this community. The scale of impact that this community has had takes my breath away. Hundreds of millions of people, hundreds of millions, have had the opportunity to thrive and live better lives today thanks to your dedication to providing family planning and reproductive health services to people everywhere. My agency in the United States that I've gotten to lead this year, the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, was founded by President John F. Kennedy in 1961. And he did it because he envisioned an agency that would advance America's moral and economic imperative to help build a more peaceful, prosperous, and healthier world. 60 years later, our work in family planning has turned out to be one of the most important ways that we do that. The United States is proud to be the world's largest bilateral donor of family planning assistance. And we've continued to do that no matter what party is in power. It's an American commitment. As a result of our partnerships with many of you here today, women and couples around the world are able to make their own reproductive health decisions, including choosing the number, the timing, and the spacing of their pregnancies. We remain steadfastly committed in the Biden administration to protecting and advancing sexual and reproductive health and rights for all. A cornerstone of those rights is access to contraception and having the agency to choose whether to use it. Those rights save lives, and they enable economic freedom and development too. I've been lucky to have a long career now in surgery, in journalism, and in public health. And at the center of my work for the last 2.5 decades, and of our work at USAID, has been a commitment to health equity. To me, health equity means that the discoveries we've made in the last century in medicine and public health that have allowed us to live nearly double the human lifespan that our forebears had, to where now we have an 80+ life year expectancy if you can access the essential capabilities of medicine and public health. Well, that cannot be just a privilege of the few. And among those essential capabilities that we need to bring to everyone, and bring to everyone everywhere, is access to quality reproductive health care. Everything we know about how the world develops tells us that people and societies prosper when women have the ability to more fully participate in their societies and their economies. And voluntary family planning and access to contraception sit at the center of that freedom. For all of our progress, and we have a lot to celebrate, this room deserves the credit, but we recognize the gaps remain wide, and they are in fact getting wider. This has not gotten enough attention. During the last 2.5 years of the pandemic, the world has experienced its first reduction in global life expectancy in a century. Year after year, over decades, the survival of children and the survival of women have advanced until now, and we're not talking about it enough. We have set a goal to achieve universal access to sexual and reproductive health services by 2030. But the pandemic's disruptions of families, of schools, economies, and health systems have sent us backwards. It's reversed years of progress. And in order to recover, we have 3 things that we must do. We must focus on strengthening local capacities, priorities, and voices in our work in order to advance SRHR and access to family planning. I was just recently in Ghana, and I got to see what that really means. What I saw was a place where partners have come together to support the government to assure that community health workers are salaried, not volunteers, that they are fully trained as nurses and midwives. And then our USAID funding, we have helped provide the resources that they need. And that has meant that they could be the people in the community who address malaria, who address safe childbirth, who address vaccination and meet people's family planning needs. Then I saw an example of our USAID local NGO partner, Total Family Health, which has extended training in family planning to enable workplaces, markets, and hair salons to counsel people on the same subjects as well. That included getting to visit in Accra a place called Tina's Place, a hair salon, where I saw beauticians teach clients about their bodies, about their rights, and to connect them to the pharmacies and clinics that can provide access to the services that they need. The second part of our task to recover is we must embrace young people as key drivers of change and as equal partners. Because today, thank you. Because today, adolescent girls and young women between the ages of 10 to 19 number almost 1 billion people of that 8 million people that Dr. Khanna mentioned. Third, in order to recover the losses, we must embrace gender transformative approaches, meaning approaches that engage entire communities, including boys and men, to challenge the root causes of gender inequality. What those three components required for success and recovery have in common is partnership. President Kennedy once said, "Partnership is not a posture, but a process, a continuing process that grows stronger each year as we devote ourselves to common tasks." As a global community, we cannot achieve our goals for sustainable development, including universal health coverage, unless all people have control over their bodies and their futures. And that will only happen through partnership, through devoting ourselves to these common tasks. I am committed to working with you to improve global health outcomes, including advancing sexual and reproductive health and rights, and the empowerment of women and girls in the work we do in global health at USAID. I want to thank all of you for your dedication, and I hope you all come away from this conference re-energized for this vital cause. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Atul. And just want to say that you are currently the Assistant Administrator for Global Health at USAID. So thank you for those remarks. And next, I would like to introduce Alicia Herbert, who will receive the Order of the British Empire and is the Director of the Education, Gender and Equality Directorate at the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office in the UK. She is also the Education and Gender and Education Directorate Special Envoy for Gender Equality and Head of Abercrombie House. She has over 20 years' experience in international development, and prior to joining international development, she worked with a range of organizations, including the World Bank and Policy Study Institute. And she was previously working in Mozambique as well as Africa and Asia. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Dr. T. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, youth advocates, colleagues and friends. As the UK's Special Envoy for Gender Equality, it is an honour and a pleasure to join you today. Universal, comprehensive sexual and reproductive health and rights are at the heart of achieving our shared commitment to a gender-equal world. A world where all women and girls have agency over their own lives and futures, control over their bodies, and are able to make informed choices about having sex and having children. Voluntary family planning, with women's rights at its centre, and a strong focus on ensuring that no one is left behind, underpins the UK's approach. It is now my pleasure, I'm very pleased now to hand over to a long-standing champion of this critical agenda, Andrew Mitchell MP, the UK's International Development Minister. Thank you.
Ten years ago, I was privileged to welcome you to London for our first Global Family Planning Summit. I'm very proud of the legacy of that event and the difference our work has made to the lives of people around the world, especially women and girls. Back then, family planning was a neglected issue. Today, a thriving global family planning movement is transforming lives for the better. Over the last 10 years, 87 million more women and girls in the world's poorest countries have gained choice and control over if, whether and when to have children. Progress made possible by the tireless commitment of leaders, activists, organizations, and partners gathered here today. To help ensure that work continues, I am pleased to confirm new UK government funding to the Global Family Partnership, FP 2030. It will support the important shift to a more inclusive, country-led and country-owned family planning movement. In the last 10 years, the global health community has also made huge strides in demonstrating the fundamental connection between family planning and universal health coverage. We cannot achieve one without the other. In 2019, the UK joined partners from across the globe to commit to achieving universal health coverage by 2030 to ensure that all people can access quality and affordable essential health services. Voluntary family planning must be part of those essential services. Indeed, it is one of the best investments a country can make in its future, and it remains one of the key measures against which we assess our progress towards universal health coverage. The UK government has also committed to help global efforts to end the preventable deaths of mothers, babies and children by 2030. Family planning is essential to achieving that goal. Ultimately, ending preventable deaths requires strong primary health care, sexual and reproductive health and rights, and a tireless focus on promoting rights and equity in all we do. The UK has been working with a number of you, including the Global Financing Facility and the UNFPA Supplies Partnership, to provide practical support to governments to integrate family planning into their health systems. Together, we have made progress over the last decade, but recent UN analysis has revealed a staggering backsliding amongst women's, children's, and adolescents' health as a result of the pandemic and various conflicts around the world. It means that today a woman in sub-Saharan Africa is around 130 times more likely to die in pregnancy or childbirth than a woman in Europe or North America. We also face an emboldened anti-rights movement, which is better networked and better resourced than ever before. Precarious gains in universal health coverage and on sexual and reproductive health and rights hang in the balance, which is why it is so important that we come together and redouble our efforts on rights-based access to family planning and delivering universal health coverage. Working together, we must prioritize primary health care that puts women's rights and choice at its centre and help those left furthest behind. The UK will continue to do all we can to ensure women and girls, in all their diversity, can exercise their rights, enjoy their freedoms, and achieve their potential. I wish you all a successful and inspiring conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those addresses. And now I would like to introduce to you the next video that we're going to see. And the video is from the Canadian Minister, the Honorable Hajit Sajan, the Minister of International Development and Minister responsible for the Pacific Economic Development Agency of Canada.
I'm very sorry I could not be there with you in person today, but I'm extremely happy for the chance to share how and why family planning is a key global health priority supported by the Government of Canada. Sexual and reproductive health and rights are the foundation of a fair and equal world for women and girls. No woman should be forced to carry an unwanted pregnancy to term. No woman should die because of pregnancy or childbirth. And every woman, everywhere, should have autonomy over their body. Now, despite a global rise in opposition to these very basic facts, we have seen progress. As Minister of International Development, I see the important work our partners are doing on the ground. In Zambia, a grade 12 student was expelled from her school because it was discovered that she had a legal abortion. The school said that the student would be a bad influence on her classmates, but partners active in a Canadian-supported project mobilized and engaged the district education board, and the authorities readmitted her into the school, where she will now sit for her final exam this month. But even with this success story, there is still so much work to be done. Every woman and girl should have the right to safe, legal abortion, maternal and obstetric health care, comprehensive sexuality education, and contraception. And Canada is proud of our 10-year pledge to improve the health and rights of women and children around the world. In 2019, we committed to raising our global health funding to $1.4 billion Canadian per year by 2023, with $700 million annually for the comprehensive SRHR. This is in line with our feminist international assistance policy. As a proud She Decides champion, I want to amplify the voices of women's rights leaders, organizations, and activists. We must listen to those voices that are not always heard and push to ensure that they are at the table when decisions are being made. As a man, I see this as essential. Men have a crucial role to play in supporting efforts towards gender equality and bodily autonomy. But we also need the political will to overcome misinformation, resistance, and unnecessary politicalization. All of us play a role in ensuring that we keep this momentum going. We must innovate, collaborate, and accelerate access to comprehensive SRHR services around the world, and particularly for the neglected areas of SRHR. Together, let's build a world where women and girls in all their diversity are able to control their own lives, bodies, and futures. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much. And now I would like to invite onto stage the State Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Norway, Ms. Bjork Sandkjær. Ms. Sandkjær has a broad background in international development, particularly in the fields of global health, human rights, and aid effectiveness. Prior to her current position, she served as the Deputy Leader of the Standing Committee on Health and Welfare of the Oslo City Council. She has more than 20 years of experience working in the areas of global health and human rights, and has held positions in the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation. Welcome and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. T. And esteemed excellencies, partners, and dear friends, it's great to see you all, and it's great to be together here in beautiful Pattaya. And I'm honored to say a few words at the opening of our International Conference on Family Planning 2022, because this conference comes at such an important time, and we are discussing such important topics and issues. As we are gathered here, women's rights and people's rights to decide over our own bodies is under increasing threat globally. It's so hard to understand why sexual and reproductive health and rights is seen as controversial, when it is so obviously essential for the health and well-being of all. We know that mobilization against sexual and reproductive health and rights has become better coordinated better prepared, and their financial muscles are stronger than ever. That means, friends, we are confronted with well-organized and powerful forces in the anti-rights movement. And that's why it's so important that we are here together to forge those important partnerships at the global level, but all those partnerships in the different contexts where we all operate, to push back against the pushback. We will work together to defend established norms and universal rights. And I commit that Norway will continue to promote universal access to sexual, reproductive health and rights for all, including girls and boys, young people, the LGBTIQ+ community, and marginalized groups. Now, looking back to the ICPD +25 celebration in Nairobi in 2019, Norway committed to remain a global champion of sexual and reproductive health and rights, both politically and financially. We committed to invest 10.4 billion Norwegian kroner in SRHR, as well as efforts against harmful practices in the years 2020 to 2025. So fulfilling this pledge is a priority for my government, but we also know that we need to up our game. Faced with the anti-rights movement and faced with the triple crisis of the climate crisis, the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as war and conflict, we are backsliding, and we have an even more important and large task ahead of us. So I'm pleased to announce that we have increased our core support to UNFPA, as well as to the UNFPA Supplies Partnership, and that we will continue to support and provide new financial contributions to our partners in civil society for the coming years. Norway commits to strengthening access to comprehensive sexuality education, to safe abortion, and to promote the right to freely define one's own sexuality and to be free of discrimination, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. The topic for our meeting these days is family planning, but linked to universal health coverage. Now, Norway has for a long time made substantial investments in global health. And we also commit now to ensure that sexual and reproductive health services are integrated into those global health and local and national health efforts to achieve our goal of universal health coverage. We also support global initiatives such as the World Health Organization's $3 billion targets and the Global Financing Facility's SRHR Acceleration Plan. So I would like to leave you hopefully assured that Norway will remain a committed partner in securing universal access to sexual and reproductive health and rights for all. I look forward to fruitful and interesting discussions with all of you over the next few days, because united, we can ensure access to sexual and reproductive health and rights for everyone, everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those remarks. It's a tough time in the sexual and reproductive health sector at the moment with all of the pushback, and I think it is a good moment to reflect on how we can collectively protect all of these gains that we have made so far, and to hear from a young person who is energized, perhaps more than even I am at the moment. I'm an elder youth, you see. Not so young anymore, and to hear about the ideas and the vision for this future that we are all trying to collectively create. And I would like to introduce Rain Stephanie Chiambano, who's a youth leader from the Youth Think Tank Facilitator from Ouagadougou Partnership Coordination Unit. Rain is a 24-year-old sexual and reproductive health and rights activist from Burkina Faso. She currently serves as the youth lead at Ouagadougou Partnership Coordination Unit. Her commitment to sexual and reproductive health rights is rooted in the desire to impact and contribute to the quality of life of young people through advocacy in Francophone West Africa. Congratulations for being a trailblazer, and the stage is yours.
Monsieur le vice-premier ministre de la Thaïlande, ministre de la Santé publique du Royaume de Thaïlande, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres de la Santé des différents pays représentés, chers représentants des organisations de développement, chers camarades jeunes, bonsoir. Quelle joie, oui, quelle joie d'être parmi vous cet après-midi. C'est un honneur d'être devant vous, grand et fervent défenseur des droits en santé reproductive et planification familiale. C'est d'autant plus un immense honneur que d'être au milieu de vous, chers délégués et activistes jeunes, pour qu'ensemble, nous portions la voix de ces 1,8 milliard de jeunes dans le monde que nous représentons ce soir. Oui, 1,8 milliard. Je suis encore plus émue, car je suis du Burkina Faso, un pays d'Afrique de l'Ouest, francophone. Et c'est la première fois qu'en tant que jeunes issus de cette région, nous avons l'opportunité de prendre la parole dans une instance aussi importante que la Conférence internationale pour la planification familiale. Mesdames et messieurs, chers camarades jeunes, savez-vous que pour chaque femme qui meurt, il y a environ 30 autres qui souffrent d'infirmité? Savez-vous que ces taux de mortalité et de morbidité entraînent en Afrique de l'Ouest francophone près de 5 milliards de dollars de perte de productivité? Savez-vous que cette situation est d'autant plus criarde chez les adolescents et jeunes? Je pense que oui, vous le savez. Selon l'Organisation mondiale de la santé, investir dans la santé des adolescents et jeunes permet de prévenir 1,4 million de décès dans le monde qui, chaque année, sont provoqués par le VIH ou les conséquences d'une grossesse. Mes expériences, vécues à travers mon engagement pour la santé reproductive et la planification familiale, me permettent d'affirmer qu'investir dans la santé des adolescents et jeunes est porteur de beaucoup d'espoir. Mes interactions avec mes pairs jeunes m'ont appris que mettre à leur disposition des informations fiables et de qualité, des services adaptés à leurs besoins, leur permet de faire des choix éclairés liés à leur santé, mais plus généralement de préparer sereinement leur avenir. Cependant, depuis quelques années, le monde de la santé reproductive et de la planification familiale en Afrique est émaillé par de nombreux défis, comme les crises sécuritaires, politiques, climatiques et sanitaires, qui gangrènent la lutte et les efforts que nous, acteurs et actrices de ce domaine, fournissons. La région Afrique n'est pas une exception, non. Plusieurs régions traversent des crises tout autant importantes les unes que les autres. Nous sommes tous témoins des ravages des pandémies dans nos communautés, virus à Ebola et plus récemment la Covid-19. Des actions sont menées pour faire face à ces défis et à chacune des étapes, la jeunesse doit demeurer un maillon important à explorer et à exploiter afin d'amplifier la résilience et le combat pour l'accès à la planification familiale. Car même en situation de crise humanitaire, la planification familiale reste et demeure un droit. Chers camarades jeunes, mesdames et messieurs, En 2018, alors que nous célébrons la 5e conférence pour la planification familiale au pays des 1000 collines, rappelez-vous au Rwanda, l'évolution du monde nous invitait à investir pour des rétributions durables. Investir dans la planification familiale pour un développement socio-économique durable. Aujourd'hui, plus que jamais, le monde nous invite à l'innovation, à la collaboration et à l'accélération. Ces 3 mots-clés qui nous réunissent aujourd'hui ne sont pas le fruit d'un hasard. Nous devons innover en matière de planification familiale parce qu'il est plus que jamais nécessaire de créer un monde pour tous les âges. Un monde dans lequel tous les individus, notamment les adolescents et jeunes, jouissent pleinement de leurs droits sexuels et reproductifs sans discrimination et en toute responsabilité. Un monde où même au dernier kilomètre, l'accès à la planification familiale pour tous ne s'érige pas en défi, mais plutôt en opportunité. Un monde où les services sont réadaptés en tenant compte des besoins spécifiques des adolescents et jeunes, de l'évolution de la planète, en exploitant de nouvelles technologies et en repensant nos stratégies. Nous devons collaborer, car chaque individu, de la base au plus haut sommet de la pyramide, a quelque chose à offrir, d'autant plus les jeunes. Parce que le monde est jeune et qu'une jeunesse bien outillée est capable de grandes réalisations. Collaborer pour briser les tabous, les normes sociales réfractaires à la promotion de la planification familiale et ainsi changer de paradigme. Enfin, nous devons accélérer. Accélérer pour que la planification familiale ne soit plus un obstacle, mais devienne, comme le spécifie la vision globale du partenariat de Ouagadougou, un catalyseur d'un développement durable pour tous et toutes. Dear fellow youth, ladies and gentlemen, we will be accountable in 2030, target date for the Sustainable Development Goals. If we want to see a positive outcome in terms of the well-being of our population, including adolescents and youth, family planning must remain one of the fundamental levers to be pushed. Nous devons continuellement innover, collaborer et accélérer ensemble en mettant les jeunes à l'épicentre de toutes les stratégies. En matière de promotion des droits sexuels et reproductifs et planification familiale, les jeunes sont une force positive pour un changement et un développement durable dans le monde. Car avec eux, rien, mais absolument rien n'est difficile. We shouted it in 2018. We shout it again. We are not only the future. We are the present and the future. Michelle Obama disait ceci: il n'y a aucune limite à ce que nous pouvons accomplir en tant que femmes. J'aimerais la paraphraser ce soir en disant qu'il n'y a aucune limite à ce que nous pouvons accomplir en tant que jeunes. Vive la jeunesse, vive la promotion de la santé reproductive, vive la promotion de la planification familiale. Je vous remercie.
Wow, thank you so much for that energy and for the charge and command to action. And now I would like to introduce to you a video message from Melinda French Gates, who's the co-chair and board member of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She's a philanthropist, businesswoman, and a global advocate for women and girls. And as co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Melinda shapes and approves the organization's strategies and overall direction, viewing results and works with grantees and partners to further the foundation's goal of improving equity in the United States and around the world. Through her work at the foundation over more than 2 decades, Melinda has firsthand experience that empowering women and girls can transform the health and prosperity of families, communities, and societies. Her work has led her to focus increasingly on gender equity as a lever for change. In 2015, Melinda founded Pivotal Ventures, which seeks to pace and accelerate social progress in the United States. She's also the author of the best-selling book, The Moment of Lift. And I now invite you to watch the video remarks of Melinda French Gates.
Hello, everyone. Since the family planning community last gathered at ICFP in Kigali 4 years ago, the world has changed in so many ways. The global pandemic disrupted health systems all over the world, putting women's health care on the back burner once again. But this community stepped up. You pushed for family planning to be considered an essential service during lockdowns. You pushed for women and girls to be able to consult with medical professionals through their mobile phones, and for contraceptives to be delivered no matter what. Despite these heroic efforts, millions of women lost access to family planning services during the pandemic. Government and donor funding for family planning has suffered, and that's only part of the story. We've also been watching women's rights get rolled back from Afghanistan to the United States. And data shows we're at least 3 generations away from the world achieving gender equality. This is what happens when decisions are made for women instead of by them. Despite decades of progress, men still control most governments, businesses, and even families. I've thought a lot about what it will take for women of all backgrounds to have power, real power, not just a seat at the table, but also the ability to make decisions, control resources, and shape perspectives at that table, whether it's at a boardroom table or a kitchen table. In many ways, contraceptives are the foundation of women's power. They give women the ability to plan their families and to plan their futures. I'll always remember a conversation I had years ago in Nairobi with a young mother named Mary Ann. She asked me, "Do you know why I use these contraceptives?" And then she held up her baby girl and she said, "Because I want to bring every good thing to this child before I have another." Contraceptives let women be who they want to be, a mother of one or a mother of none, or even a mother of 5, a student, an entrepreneur, an elected official. By spacing their pregnancies as they see fit, mothers like Marianne have a much better chance to give each of their children a healthy life, and that benefits everyone. That's why the Gates Foundation has invested in family planning and other women's health issues from our very earliest days. It's a simple way to profoundly improve individual lives. But it's also key to achieving any of the goals the world's nations have set together, from ending poverty to improving global health. So at our foundation, we've made it a top priority to invest in women's health and to lift up women and girls. Because when contraceptives allow a woman like Marianne to make her own choices, earn her own money, and provide a good future for her child, then the society around her improves too. To tell us more, I'm honored to introduce someone who's been on the front lines of this work, first as a physician and now as president of our foundation's new Gender Equality Division. Please welcome a true champion for women and girls, my friend and colleague, Anita Zaidi.
Hello, everyone. What a thrill it is to be here at ICFP among so many family planning champions and experts in this lovely environment of Pattaya. As Melinda said, I lead the Foundation's Gender Equality Division. Our gender equality work is driven by the belief that a fairer future begins when women and girls have access to good health, economic opportunity, and a voice at all decision-making tables, what Melinda talks about as power. This future is only possible if women and girls can control their own bodies and their own lives. And family planning and the power to decide if, when, and how many children to have is central to that future. This is why, at the Gates Foundation, investments in women's health, and especially in family planning, are fundamental to our work. I have seen firsthand the power of family planning to transform lives and to advance gender equality. Recently, I was in my home country of Pakistan when I met a young woman in her 20s. She was a medical student, and she had joined a digital lending circle so she could pay for her medical school fees. She was so focused, and I was so impressed by her on her determination to complete her medical education and to not have children, even though she was enjoying good married life. And this is not a surprise. It's not a surprise that as women and girls, as girls and young women have access to educational opportunities and employment opportunities, that they also want to be able to plan their lives and their families. Investing in family planning is one of the biggest anti-poverty interventions that countries can make. Meeting the need for both contraception and for maternal, newborn child and child care can actually save money. $600 million less would be spent if we did that rather than just maternal, newborn child health care alone. Yet, we know that right now the pandemic has disrupted progress. We estimate that 218 million women and girls do not have access to family planning products and although they desire it. Why is this? Why are there so many women, millions of women with unmet need? Well, the barriers are complex, but I believe that a fundamental issue is that our health programs and our health systems are not designed with women in mind. Why is it that our health systems, a woman has to seek antenatal care at one clinic, immunizations for her children at another clinic, and family planning at another place? Why is it that family planning is not integrated in primary health care and universal health care everywhere? This is a fundamental right that we need to address. Now, this is essential, but to close the gap of unmet family planning need, there are a few other issues that we need to focus on. One is prioritizing data, high quality data that we can use to measure progress and to hold ourselves accountable. And we also need to invest in developing better family planning, better contraceptive products for women and girls that meet their needs. 40% of women in low and low-middle income countries start contraception, but stop it within the year of starting because it does not satisfy their needs. And so this, we feel, is a critical need to address for women. At the Foundation, we believe that our best work is guided by the people we serve. Our family planning strategy is centered on meeting women's needs and their preferences and aspirations for the future. To support this, we have committed $1.4 billion over the next 5 years And I want to remind you that the Gates Foundation has invested in family planning from its very earliest days. We have been committed to supporting women's needs, and this family planning commitment remains an extremely high priority for the foundation because we believe that this is fundamental to our shared development goals, and it is also fundamental to advancing gender equality. ICFP is happening at such a pivotal moment. You heard about backlash. That backlash against women's lives, against women's rights, is real. In the US and around the world, we have seen what anti-rights community, which is small but very vocal and very coordinated, can do. And so the global family planning movement is more important than ever. And it's so heartening to see all of you here today. I know this audience's, your commitment to increasing family planning access is steadfast. We must work together, building on our different strengths. We have government leaders here who can insist on prioritizing family planning within health systems. Young people are here. You just heard the lovely Rene give a passionate speech about family planning in Burkina Faso. So young people advocating for policies to support family planning and bringing energy to this movement. Private sector allies who can leverage their experience at R&D to have more contraceptive products that meet women's needs. Advocates, researchers, and civil society leaders who have and bring invaluable expertise and their tireless dedication to this cause. And donors who are committed to increasing access to family planning. We all share a vision for a more equal world and a belief that every woman should be able to enjoy good health, make her own choices, earn her own money, and be leaders in their societies. And ladies and gentlemen, this starts with ensuring that every girl and woman has autonomy over her health, her body, and her future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anita, for those remarks. And now I would like to introduce Ellen McKenzie, who is the Dean of the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. McKenzie leads an organization that includes over 800 full-time faculty working in 60 countries and teaching in more than 2,900 students from 87 nations. That's a lot of responsibility. In 2018, McKenzie led the creation of the Bloomberg School's 5-year strategic plan that centered 5 main themes on education, science, partnerships, people, and advocacy, and to focus energy and resources that aim to shape not just the school's agenda, but the future of public health. McKenzie has spoken out forcefully against family separations in the US border, gender-based discrimination, and political interference in scientific research. It's a pleasure to have you, and over to you.
Thank you so very much for that warm welcome and generous introduction. I'm thrilled to be in this beautiful country of Thailand and to be enjoying a vibrant Pattaya city. I offer my deepest, I offer my deepest thanks to our co-hosts and to our honorable guests. And I think the meeting is off to a great start. This is only my second time attending this conference, but once again, I am in awe. To have so many champions for family planning gathered together, both in person as well as online, is simply inspiring. You have come from more than 125 countries with bold ideas, bright minds, and brave hearts, and the world needs you more than ever before. When we look at the state of family planning today, there is so much progress to celebrate. As of 2020, WHO estimates that 850 million women have access to modern contraceptives. That is due to the extraordinary efforts of the people in this room, your colleagues around the world, and the pioneers who came before you. Through your work, you put life-saving, life-changing contraception into the hands of those who need it most. And yet, I know that you are restless to do more. Despite incredible advances, nearly half of all pregnancies worldwide are still unintended. You know better than anyone else why this is true. The barriers people face are tremendous: misinformation, lack of access, poverty, weak health systems, and opposition to reproductive rights. But we cannot let these barriers stand. This past year in the United States, we had a heartbreaking setback. Our Supreme Court struck down abortion protections. And while the news was devastating, I did remember what it was like to be at this conference in Rwanda in 2018. I remembered your determination and your courage. In dark moments, I always remind myself that the family planning community is not afraid of a challenge. Your tenacity has never been clearer than in the past 3 years. When COVID-19 took hold, threatening to disrupt access and care, you were ready with bold thinking. You adapted quickly and smartly. You launched innovations like telehealth services. You worked with local pharmacies to distribute oral contraceptives, emergency contraception, and condoms. These efforts helped maintain steady rates of contraceptive use during the pandemic, despite the tremendous disruptions that were caused by the pandemic. I have seen your resilience and your creativity. I know you are ready to ensure that family planning is at the forefront of the global public health agenda for many years to come. I feel particularly optimistic when I think about our theme for this year, family planning and universal health coverage. Universal health coverage, as you all know, offers all people access to essential health services without financial hardship. And of course, health care would not be universal without access to family planning, which has such a profound impact on the well-being of individuals, families, and communities. And yes, integrating family planning into UHC in every country is an ambitious goal, but together we can work toward it. As we do, we are taking big steps toward creating the healthy, equitable world that we all want to live in. In fact, we don't have to go too far to see the power of integrated UHC and family planning. Thailand's family planning program has been making impressive strides for decades. A national population policy was adopted in 1971, and since then, contraceptive use among women has increased from 15% to over 70%. That's astounding progress. Thailand achieved this through partnerships with local organizations, political will, and a brilliantly designed family planning program. What's more, in 2002, Thailand committed to ensuring every Thai citizen has access to essential health services at all life stages. Of course, family planning is a core component of Thailand's UHC program. This has expanded access to contraception, which empowers women and girls to plan their futures. This conference is a wonderful opportunity to learn from our Thai hosts, and of course from all of you to learn from each other, including the remarkable young leaders we have here today. I am so proud of the tremendous impact of this event, as well as the broader impact that the Bloomberg School and other schools of public health are having on family planning. Our universities are preparing the next generation. I should correct that and say the present generation as well as the next generation of health leaders, many of whom are right in this room, as we've seen. One of the Gates Institute's flagship programs is 120 under 40. It provides awards to people doing significant and innovative work in family planning. We are thrilled to have this new generation of leaders at this very conference. Let me tell you two of their stories. Jacqueline Fonquo grew up in Cameroon. She and her childhood friend dreamed of practicing medicine. Tragically, her friend died when she was just 15 years old, the result of complications from delivering a baby. But Jackie went on to earn an MD and dedicate her career to advancing sexual and reproductive health. Known to many as Dr. Jackie, by 2019, she had empowered 15 nurses at her health facility to join her as family planning educators and advocates. The facility increased the prevalence of postpartum family planning by 70%. Dr. Jackie is also the founder of a youth-led NGO called Youth to Youth, which has taught thousands of young people about family planning. Since 2017, with her blend of clinical as well as public health practice, she has impacted over 3,000 young people by sharing knowledge on sexual and reproductive health. And Jackie has continued to widen her impact, even more so by creating Nang, Cameroon's first mobile app that delivers information and services on sexual and reproductive health to young people. Now, another 120 under 40 leader is Mohammed Tajid Haider Tolrat Sikdar, who has spent his entire life in a Rohingya refugee camp in Bangladesh. He has seen women and girls suffer terribly from unaddressed issues with sexual and reproductive health. To fight back, he created Life Beyond the Border. This project empowers adolescent Rohingya refugees to break the social taboo and create awareness of menstrual hygiene, early forced marriage, and sex education. He has worked with thousands of young people, as well as adults, training them to be educators and advocates. Together, they have reported and stopped dozens of child marriages and helped fellow refugees access family plannings at 30 different clinics. With his trademark enthusiasm and creativity, he has also established Y Coalition International, a youth-led peace-building organization. And for every person these two individuals have touched through their work, there are extraordinary ripple effects. And the same is true for everyone here in this room. You help give women and girls control over the most fundamental aspects of their lives. That changes not only their futures, but the future of the children they will have when they are ready and if they are ready. While the impact of family planning begins with individuals, it echoes out to affect so much more. Family planning advances human rights, gender equality, and personal empowerment. Family planning improves maternal, newborn, child, and adolescent health. Family planning shapes economic development and environmental futures. Through family planning, we are protecting health on a grand scale and transforming lives in the most profound of ways. It fills me with so much hope knowing that you have devoted your careers and your lives to fight for these causes. You may come from many different countries, but each of you has boundless compassion for others and a deep commitment to ensuring everyone has control over their own destiny. As we look to the exciting days ahead, I want to recognize that this conference is owned by you, the members of the reproductive health community. Thousands of individuals provide their participation and support, and almost every organization in this field is involved. That collective effort and the belief is that is what makes this such a powerful and impactful platform. To all our attendees, thank you for being here to share your knowledge and to learn from each other. To our extraordinary Thai hosts, thank you so much for giving us a home for these next few days and for providing us with models for success. And finally, to my colleagues from the Bloomberg School's Gates Institute, especially our tireless and heroic director, Oying Ramon, thank you for making this event not only possible, but truly spectacular. You are protecting health and saving lives, millions at a time, and I could not be more proud. Thank you.
And now I would like to ask Oying to come onto stage to introduce the Global Humanitarian Award winners. And thank you very much, Mackenzie, for those remarks.
Thank you, Dr. T. You still awake, Dr. T? Yeah. The Global Humanitarian Award recognizes individuals who, with great vision and leadership, have invested private wealth to advance reproductive, maternal, neonatal, and child health, especially family planning at the country and global levels. Through the giving and commitments by the honorees of the Global Humanitarian Award for Women's and Children's Health, significant progress have been made and will be made toward enabling access to life-saving family planning resources and advancing maternal and child health and well-being. The award recognizes the tremendous contributions that these honorees we have tonight have made toward the goal of saving lives worldwide, thousands, if not millions at a time. First, awardee. I think you have heard about him. He was on ICFP live stage a few hours ago, reaching hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people watching us now. His name is Michai Viravaidya. Chairman of the Michai Viravaidya Foundation, founder of PDA. Affectionately known in Thailand as Mr. Condom, I would add Mr. Condoms and Cabbages. Michai founded PDA, like many of you here, young people, at age 32. Since 1974, Mr. Michai has initiated community-based family planning services, innovative poverty reduction and rural education programs, large-scale rural development and environmental programs, as well as groundbreaking HIV/AIDS prevention activities throughout his country and Southeast Asia. Perhaps many of you, during the height of the AIDS epidemic, you remember one of the first countries in the world to have reduced significantly the HIV/AIDS infection through the 100% condom use. That's related to Mr. Michai. To ensure financial sustainability of the NGO, PDA, 16 for-profit companies, by the way, it's now 17, have been established that are affiliated with PDA and are mandated to put funds towards the nonprofit organization. Companies and businesses include the popular Cabbage and Condoms restaurant chain, the Birds and Bees Resort in Pattaya, This is a free commercial for you, Konmichai. For those of you who have not yet visited the Birds and Bees Resort, which is only 5 minutes from here by car, I would urge you to have one of the most mind-boggling, spectacular experience by going there and going to Condoms and Cabbages restaurant. He has also served as a Deputy Minister of Industry, a cabinet spokesperson, a senator in the National Assembly, and a minister in the Prime Minister's Office of Thailand. For his efforts in various development endeavors, Michai has been acclaimed with numerous awards: the honorary doctoral degrees of the United Nations Gold Peace Medal in 1981, the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Public Service, that's the equivalent of the Nobel Prize in Asia, one of Asia Week's 20 Great Asians, the United Nations Population Award, and many more that I can't read. It's very long. Okay. So we have Kun Michai as one of the awardees for the Global Humanitarian Award. Let's give a clap to Kun Michai. The other awardees is Daniel and David Zwillig of the Zwillig Family Foundation. The Zwillig family's business enterprises started and flourished in the Philippines, but has now expanded to many countries in Asia. The name is associated with pharmaceutical industry, and the company has been a leading provider of innovative healthcare solutions beyond just distributing medicines. Thus, when the Zwillig Family Foundation was established in 2008, the family chose to focus its efforts on promoting and implementing effective and sustainable healthcare systems in the Philippines and soon outside the Philippines. The foundation is separate and distinct from the Zwillig family's revenue-generating businesses and ventures. It operates a registered nonprofit family foundation in the Philippines, and 2 Zwillig family members sit in the Zwillig Board of Trustees. Forbes Asia recognized cousins David and Daniel Zwillig in its annual Heroes of Philanthropy. It's annual Heroes of Philanthropy. The foundation's operations are funded primarily by the Zwillig family, and its resources are leveraged by collaborative partnership in public health. In the last decade, the Zwilligs have provided $20 million worth of programs related to health systems development, health governance, nutrition, 1,000 days, family planning, adolescent reproductive health, reducing teenage pregnancies. By the year 2020, the Zwillig Family Foundation strategy of health governance has been introduced to 776 of the country's 1,500 municipalities, 27 of the 81 provinces, and 34 of the 145 cities. In fact, if you were in the Philippines, many city mayors and governors would say, "Have you been Zwillig yet?" Because there's a high demand for being part of the health governance program. So that's our other awardees, David and Daniel Zwillig, who has made another commitment from now until 2031 of spending another $20 million in public health. May I request the Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Sati, Dr. Anita Zaidi, the President of Gender Equality, and our own Dr. Natalia Kanem, to please join Dr. Ellen McKinsey on the stage, please. for the conferment of the award. Yeah. May I call on Kunmichai Viravedya and Men Zwillig. By the way, David and Daniel Zwillig, I was informed, are very shy people. You know, that they normally shun away from recognition. So they have deputized a non-shy member of the family, Men Zwillig, to receive the award in their behalf.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to have received this award, but also honored and humbled. I know, and all of you know, that for anyone to receive an award for whatever level of achievement, it's because of the endeavors of other people around you that help to make it possible. So let's say that this award belongs to all people in family planning and all those children in school who are going to help us to explain about the realities of life. The coincidence of this event in this district called Banglamung, and this hotel used to be just a little village. 48 years ago, we started the community-based distribution of contraceptives, where local volunteer shopkeepers were allowed by the Ministry of Public Health to provide the pill. This was after the doctors had done it, nurses and midwives, which only covered 20%, and the other 80% was done by the ordinary people who were voted or selected by the villagers, and they were shopkeepers. And as time has gone by, these people have become the village health volunteers that were instrumental in helping the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's these little people who really are the champions. What I would also like to say is that my career in family planning really took off from this area, and with the help of the IPPF and Malcolm Potts, who helped to fight and find resources to do it. So now what I can say is that we've gone through a path of starting off to reduce births with family planning, 2, to reduce deaths with AIDS, the 4th, to reduce financial dependence on others by having a social enterprise like the birds and bees and restaurants, and then to reduce poverty by getting the poor villagers to partner with companies who have money and ideas how to make money, and then finally to reduce ignorance by coming up with a new education system called the Bamboo School and helping others, for people to become a new generation of leaders. They help to run the school. They do all the purchases, be it from vehicles to food. They pay their school fees in community service and tree planting, not in cash. And they also do the selection of incoming students and incoming teachers. They are helping to run the school. So we are also doing this by using the school as a platform or as a gateway to introduce many other activities into the villages via the school. So now I think in all of your countries, you must do more with your school children, with your school, in spreading excellent work out into the villages. And the final thing we're doing now is that this is at the other end of my career. The one was the beginning, not to have too many births, and this one is not to have too many deaths. We're now using a program in the school for food and income security for the elderly, done by students. And we have now about 40 schools that have done it. And what's happening now is that we are bringing the elderly back into the line of production. So we don't have to worry about so many elderly people working to depend on other people. Now they're coming back in. And the other one, and I think in Thailand, we also need to realize that there are migrants who would love to be Thais, and the government must be very serious looking at it, that to help to give the Thai citizenship to more people. And finally, I'd like to thank you very much for this first kind award and this offer. And again, it's because of the work of many other people that I have known. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. So firstly, we as a family were very delighted to receive this award. And so I'm picking up this award on behalf of our family, my uncle David and Daniel, who unfortunately couldn't be here. I would like to express our family's appreciation for recognition in the support we have given to improve the healthcare outcomes of all Filipinos over the years. So in 2008, the Zulik Family Foundation made a deliberate decision to adopt a strategy to actively engage politically elected chief executives. This was because the public health services are devolved to local government units in the Philippines, where my grandfather was born and where our family's enterprise started and prospered to become a multinational company with a presence in the Asia-Pacific region. The foundation's change theory was if leaders are trained to manage their local health systems, then more urgent health system reforms will be made, better healthcare services will be rendered, and improved healthcare indicators will follow. During the piloting period, the local health systems meant 0 preventable maternal deaths in our local government partners. When most of our 72 pilot sites succeeded in realizing 0 death, the Philippine Health Administrator invited us to roll out a strategy to move in more areas in the country. We also trained faculty members from different academic institutions to provide leadership and governance training programs. Each institution catered a cluster of regions in the Philippines. Over time, we and our local government partners saw the alarming data on profile of mothers who died giving birth, mothers who had given birth too many times, or were too young, or purely nourished. This led us to program interventions that address sexual and reproductive health family planning, and nutrition in the first 1,000 days. To date, the Zulik Family Foundation approach has reached 25% of the Philippine provinces and 40% of its towns. We reached this largely because of our partners that included the United Nations Population Fund, the United Nations Children's Fund, Nutrition International, MSD for Mothers Global Giving Program, the Christian Gerard Jepson Foundation, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Institution for Population and Reproductive Health, as well as academic institutions in the Philippines, the Commission on Population and Development, and the regional offices of the Department of Health, without whom mainstreaming our model to as many government locals would have not been possible. We have gained over time a trust relationship with our partners based on focus, persistence, and commitment to long-term change. We recognize that governance of health is complex and access of women and children to life-saving interventions is still far from equitable. Our family will continue supporting the foundation. As part of the fourth generation of the Zulik family, we will support developing and implementing effective approaches in the areas of maternal, child health and nutrition, family planning, and adolescent reproductive health and universal health care. Again, we would like to thank you very much for this honor. We as a family would also like to thank and share this award with the Zulik Family Foundation management and staff whose creativity and innovation made these achievements possible. Thank you.
Congratulations once more to all of the winners of the Humanitarian Award this evening. And without any delay, I would like to welcome Mr. Tawachai Sitong, who's the governor of Chonburi province here in Pattaya, where we are currently hosting this conference, to give us some remarks as one of our hosts for ICFP 2022. Thank you very much.
Excellency, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Thailand and to the 6th International Conference on Family Planning. On behalf of the Chonburi Province government, we extend our gratitude for your attendance and participation in the conference and deeply appreciate your contribution to the goal of universal access to family planning system, service, and product. Chonburi province is experiencing an overall birth rate decline, while at the same time facing a high rate of unintended pregnancy in the unenabled population. Therefore, we have decided to approach to both aspects of population change and develop a national population plan that includes multiple ministries from education, labor, finance, and health. At the conference today, we will hear from you about challenges and efforts to address your demographic challenges, to share learning and policy perspective to help create and propose guidelines for responding to changing demographic trends to relate to family planning. Chonburi is a fascinating area due to the fact that there are numerous activities that make voyagers feel delight, which is a lot of add to the list. I welcome everyone to Chonburi province. I hope you all find the next day an enjoyable and rewarding experience and look forward to your ongoing support and collaboration during the conference. go successfully. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Governor. And now I would like to welcome Pattaya City Mayor, Mr. Poramed Ngam Pichet.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Pattaya City, it is my great pleasure to welcome all the participants of the International Conference on Family Planning to Pattaya City. Pattaya is a world-famous beach resort destination on the eastern seaboard of Thailand for its variety of beautiful attractions, such as beaches, sea, and various forms of entertainment. It is also friendly to tourists of all ages and can attract people from all over the world to visit all year round. This conference is a great opportunity for knowledge and experience exchanges among knowledgeable experts and experienced people who work on family planning from many countries. Pattaya City is proud to take part to this global level conference, as this conference will become a key channel for people to access knowledge and services on sexual and reproductive health, contraceptive, family planning, and universal health coverage. Although the preparation for this conference were interrupted because of COVID-19 pandemic, but today the situation has eased. This gives Pattaya City a great opportunity to be the host city for this conference. Pattaya City has strictly followed disease prevention and control measures to ensure the safety of people and tourists traveling to Pattaya. Moreover, Pattaya City is committed to taking good care of the attendees, the press, and those taking part in the conference with our hospitality. I hope that you all have great experience from your visit to Pattaya, and I wish you will come back again. Thank you very much.
I think we will be back, Mr. Mayor, that's for sure. And now the closing performance, I would just like to explain to you in a little bit what it's about. It will be another performance from Thailand's Fine Arts Department. And this current performance speaks about the long drum, which is a Thai musical instrument. It is widely used by people all over the country as a rhythmic instrument in the Thai parades during special events. The male dancers play the drum along with other percussion instruments such as the shing, shap, grap, and the mung, and perform the dance together with the female dancers. Pon Kan Duk, loosely translated as a dance of bowl of flower. The show is performed in honor of 3 jewels in Buddhism, namely Lord Buddha, Dharma, and monks, to promote peace nationwide. Presently, the show is seen at processions and auspicious ceremonies and festivals across Thailand, and we're incredibly privileged to be witnessing this incredible performance as our closing ceremony. And I would like to say thank you so much to all of you for honoring us with your presence this evening. Thank you for all the interventions, to all of our amazing speakers. And I know I speak for all of the ICFP community when I say that we are fully charged with a very clear direction and mandate on how to go forward in realizing the right to health, but especially the right to sexual and reproductive health rights. And we understand how important access to modern methods of family planning and comprehensive services are to women and girls and non-binary people, to also realizing a life of dignity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.